They bring color and class to the catwalk, introducing new styles and trends. The stylish draper Sofia Coco Salaki, the refined Chris Van Ash, the reviving retro Bieber, and Jonathan Saunders, the understated king of print. Understated Greek designer Sofia Coco Salaki is one of the up-and-coming rising stars of the fashion industry, combining old styles with the new. Born in Athens in the early 1970s, Coco Salaki is now a London-based designer who is known for her elegant and sophisticated drapery. She was raised in Greece, where she studied literature. By the late 1990s, she was in London to pursue her fashion career, graduating from Central St Martin's College of Art and Design. Discovered by UK Vogue magazine, she launched her first women's wear collection a year later at London Fashion Week. With her career up and running, she was receiving numerous awards, such as the Elle Designer Award, Art Foundation Award for Fashion, and the New Generation Designer Award in 2004. She was also commissioned to design the outfits for the opening and closing ceremonies of the Olympic Games in Athens, where she oversaw the uniforms for both the athletes and officials. The Greek-born star of London fashion then turned to her roots for inspiration, showing a new take on Grecian tradition for her 2004-2005 autumn-winter collection. Her catwalk show included her signature draped and pleated silk jersey dresses, while flowing skirts were reminiscent of Grecian tunics, and pom-pom details on long boots or belts picked up on another folk tradition. Coco Salaki wanted to use her Greek heritage to create something new for Western fashion, with antique hues featuring heavily beside head-to-toe black, showing her use of earthy tones. Skirts came short and tucked at the front, and dresses and tops came with flowing layers of chiffon, while tailored jackets came with lace detail. Her collection was described by critics as a collection that was modern, wearable, and surprisingly sexy. Her traditional Greek background has also influenced her recent ready-to-wear collections, with more draping and gladiator sandals ruling the runway. Her collection was also inspired by Middle Eastern and Egyptian art. Black and gold were very important in the collection and were seen from the gold work shoes to embellishments and earrings. In early 2009, Coco Salaki's well-draped collection hit the sweet spot between edgy and tasteful. She opened her show with a steady parade of black looks, belted leather coats, microfiber dresses and washed silk blouses, to which precise draping lent a dulcet note. In past seasons, Coco Salaki has also shown her skill with embroidery, but for this particular season, she decorated her designs with beads and bugles to produce a showcase of fancy jackets and dresses. With the success of her feminine and Greek-inspired designs, Coco Salaki's creations are now often worn by the celebrity A-listers, such as Academy Award-nominated actress Anne Hathaway, who attended the 2008 MTV Movie Awards in Los Angeles in a midnight-colored Sofia Coco Salaki dress. Like other well-known designers, Coco Salaki has also now collaborated with Topshop, a British chain of clothing stores, proving she is definitely one of the top designers in the UK today. She has introduced us to her trademark style, adding to it her elements of handcrafting, which are sure to stay in style for a long time. While keeping with the classic looks, Sofia Coco Salaki is also creating her own unique and understated look. on the fashion scene, Belgian-born designer Chris Van Asch has emerged as one of the understated masters of tailoring, creating casual elegance for men and women. Born in Belgium in the mid-1970s, Van Asch graduated from the Antwerp Royal Academy of Fine Arts, then moved to Paris in the late 1990s to live his dream and become a fashion designer. He received work at Yves Saint Laurent under the supervision of Eddie Slimane, a Tunisian-French fashion designer who also was creative director for Dior Homme, another label that Van Asch began working for. Although by 2005, Van Asch had begun to show his own designs and now heads his own designer label, Chris Van Asch. He launched his third collection in Paris in early 2006 with an impressively tailored formal sober collection. He returned to the beginning of the 20th century and the formal family photos of the Belle Epoque period with classic tailored black suits, high trilbies, smart three-quarter length wool coats and little dicky bows in monotone black and grey. This was then followed by a more relaxed look of leather blouse and jackets and small blazers, striped polo neck sweaters, waistcoats and big boots. Later that year at Men's Fashion Week in Paris, the young Belgian designer picked up the his and hers theme with his androgynous style interchangeable suits. Inspired by the Richard Gere-Lauren Hutton couple in American Gigolo, Van Asch's Hello Girls collection boasted white Y-fronts, tennis sweaters and tuxedo-style evening suits, drawing comparisons to his mentor by showing his suits on 40-something women with slim hips. Van Asch in 2008 released his Sang Blue collection for the spring-summer of 2009. Balancing a nostalgic historical sense with radical modernism, he created a distinctive, refined world of nonchalant elegance. Sheer and inky black, navy blue and black pinstripe outline the color palette as models entered the catwalk with religious icons tattooed onto their bodies, helping highlight the theme of the collection. By 2007, Van Asch had become artistic director of Dior Homme, the menswear line of Christian Dior, and presented his first collection later in the year. By 2008, it had appeared men's collections were challenging the saying of boys will be boys. However, for his collection, Van Asch said he was looking to deconstruct the three-piece suit with the aim of convincing young people today, young men today, to wear that.
It's always about the same thing. It's about deconstructing the three-piece suit and how to convince young people today, young men today, to wear that, because you're not gonna make it with an old grandfather suit.
Highlights of the show included striped suits and sequined baggy faded jeans rolled above the ankle. Black suits that were anything but boring dominated his Dior Homme show at the beginning of 2009, with asymmetrical cuts, strap and metalwork closures, and heaps of pleats creating an edgy, bold silhouette that played on volumes and contrast. Receiving many fans in just a short amount of time, Van Asch's Dior Homme show was watched by musicians Kanye West, plus legendary designer Karl Lagerfeld, who gave the collection his seal of approval. Since having launched his label only a few years ago, Van Asch has received rave reviews with his attention to detail and sophisticated way of combining masculinity with femininity and old looks with modern styles. Chris Van Asch is definitely one of the new names in fashion to watch out for. Francisco Costa has become the newly understated designer behind the Calvin Klein label, staying true to the classic simplicity of the original look. Costa, now the creative director of Calvin Klein Collection for Women, is a Brazilian-born designer. At just 20 years of age in the early 1980s, he moved to New York, enrolled in a language class, and began taking lessons at the Fashion Institute of Technology. His fashion career began when he was employed by a company that made dresses for well-known labels Oscar de la Renta and Bill Blass, eventually to be employed by de la Renta, where he remained for a number of years. Costa even credits his knowledge of design to de la Renta. He gained work as an assistant to American legendary designer Tom Ford at the House of Gucci before being noticed by Klein in 2001. By 2003, he had become the principal designer for Calvin Klein. Since then, Costa has received some mixed reviews by fashion critics, but even so, he has been awarded the Women's Wear Designer of the Year award by the Council of Fashion Designers of America a number of times. By 2006, he was giving the traditionally minimalist lines of Calvin Klein an injection of urban edginess with a Spring-Summer 2007 collection that was for city women in a hurry.
We all live in such fast pace, and I think a woman needs to have a chance to be able to go to the gym and put a cocktail dress right after. Take a great jacket, which is much more technical, stuck in a gym bag and go on.
Some shapes were clearly drawn from Japanese culture, with platform sandals and close-fitting dresses, but their appearance was intriguingly toughened with a nod to American football, which was most evident in the almost 1980s-like shoulders of a black coat. A blend of perforated meshes, latex and rubber with much lighter stretch knits and delicate pleats added texture to the outfits. The classic Calvin Klein white-on-white was ever present, with models appearing on the runway from a blinding bright white entrance, while canary yellow, light green, grey and black were also on display. For his fall collection, Costa's Calvin Klein show was a study in black and grey, carbon, charcoal, steel, coal and, according to Costa, 48 other shades of grey. His idea for this collection was simple. He found it exciting to explore with one colour throughout an entire collection. Now a major player in the fashion industry, Costa has attracted many high-profile celebrities. His fall 2009 runway show attracted both Eva Mendes and Kate Beckinsale, who was attending her first show.
I think it's a really nice mix of the fact that obviously it's a very classic American label, and he seems to be really respecting that and also rocking it up by using, various deconstructed distress techniques.
Both women also looked fantastic in their Calvin Klein outfits while watching the show, which once again featured the label's sophisticated looks and tailoring, with a colour palette of mainly black and grey, with a few colours thrown in the mix. Since being the creative designer at the label, Costa's outfits have appeared on many well-known faces from the entertainment industry, from Scarlett Johansson, who accompanied Costa wearing a nude, peachy knee-length dress, to actress Christina Ricci, who walked the red carpet with the designer, wearing his figure-hugging, strapless Calvin Klein dress, while Liv Tyler looked stunning in the petal-hemmed turquoise gown, adding a bit of colour to the Metropolitan Museum of Art's annual Costume Institute Gala. The Devil Wears Prada actress Emily Blunt chose a strapless Calvin Klein navy blue sequined gown, and Cynthia Nixon arrived to her Sex and the City film premiere in London wearing a floor-length low-cut pleated black gown. Putting a new edge on the label's look while keeping with the Calvin Klein image of style and elegance, Francisco Costa's light, more feminine designs have made him into one of the most understated designers for one of the most tasteful and widely recognizable labels around. Becoming the ultimate symbol of glamour and decadence in the UK in the mid-1960s, the understated Bieber has since been reborn into one of the most iconic fashion labels. Introduced in the mid-1960s by designer Barbara Hulanicki, Bieber began life in Abingdon Road before moving around the West London locality, offering cutting-edge fashion like micro minis, smocks and sheer blouses at rock-bottom prices. Bieber creator Hulanicki not only designed fashion items, but developed a lifestyle, expanding her designs to feature in home goods, cosmetics and children's clothing. Bieber was the UK's most talked about retailer in the 1960s. The Bieber look spawned endless imitations. However, despite being a leading fashion house renowned throughout the world in its time, the Bieber success story sadly came to an end in 1975 when the Big Bieber store was closed down. After several attempts to revive the brand, the new Biber label was entrusted to the creative talents of established fashion designer Bella Freud. Freud, who is a London-based designer, has gained for herself over the years a celebrity clientele, and before launching her own fashion company, she worked for legendary designer Vivienne Westwood. Having investigated the archive of original Biber creations and studying the autobiography of the brand's creator, Freud believed that the label had all the ingredients for a successful comeback. So she set to work turning the label back into the loved brand it used to be.
I wanted to catch the spirit of what it was. I wanted to bring alive all the really good detail of the design of what Barbara Hulanicki did. And I also want it to be completely more, relevant for today's young woman.
The collection that everyone in the fashion world was waiting for was unveiled in 2006 for the 2007 spring-summer season and brought with it a fresh new attitude. The Biber relaunch certainly attracted plenty of attention from celebrities and fashionistas alike. The trademark silhouette of Biber had certainly made it back from the past, along with playful prints and flowing shifts. The new collection seemed as fun and flirty as its predecessor. Freud's autumn-winter collection in 2007 was influenced by 1920s debutantes and 1970s punks. The tailoring was ultra-slim, with drain-pipe trousers, fitted jackets, skinny sweater dresses and tiny skirts. A year later, the 60s super brand showed a collection that remained true to its youthful and exuberant history, with an injection of a 21st century twist.
This season I put a lot more of my own kind of expression into it, and especially in the tailoring, I kind of pushed that and played about with that.
The show started with two signature dresses with 70s shoulders and big neck bow and layers. Nearly each dress was topped off with a fez hat. Strong shoulders with long sleeves and short skirts proved to be the silhouette for the label. The designer also took inspiration from Austrian painter Gustav Klimt and drawings by Los Angeles-based artist Camille Rose Garcia, renowned for her gothic and cartoon-style figures. A lot of Biber's success has also come from the iconic logo. This logo has played a crucial part in the label's growing empire, and with the use of colours and design, reflected the growing popularity of Art Deco. Biber is truly one of the most understated labels around, having started a craze in the 60s with its bright colours and groovy patterns, which sadly disappeared for a number of years, to reviving the brand and turning it back into the funky brand it once was. Biber is truly legendary. One of the UK's rising young stars of the fashion industry, and renowned for his passion for print and textiles, is the understated designer Jonathan Saunders. The Scottish-born designer began by graduating from the Glasgow School of Arts in 1999, receiving his Bachelor of Arts in printed textile. He then went on to gain his Master of Arts with distinction in printed textiles from London's Central St Martin's College of Art and Design, completing it in 2002.
And it's quite a kind of fine balance between design and fine art approach to textile design. So it's that, whether it's textiles or product design or interiors or whatever you do, it's still that kind of artistic approach in that the print is the focus of the collection.
Since then, and despite being fairly new on the fashion scene, his collections have gained praise from across the industry. But aside from coordinating his own label, Saunders also consults for some major fashion labels in Europe. What makes Saunders, a New Generation Designer Award winner, distinctive is how he works with print, colour and not least the cut of his outfits. He is a traditionalist. Instead of using new technology, his clothing and every print is created by hand. Using silk screening techniques, he designs prints around pattern pieces, creating an individual effect on each garment, giving it its own specifically designed print, instead of having the same image being used on each piece of clothing throughout his collections. He was one of the highlights of the London Fashion Week in early 2004, calling his autumn and winter collection a homage to pop and fine art, continually making breakthroughs on the business side of fashion.
It's a service at the end of the day. You've got to provide a product that people want, and it's got to be delivered on time to the shops. It's got to be a good product, so that's the main importance behind what you're doing, and you can get the creative side out, whatever which way you desire.
He continued to catch the eye with fresh, bold colours in his next collection in 2004. The Bauhaus influence from architecture, originating from Germany and Art Deco of the 1920s and 30s, were the main themes. But dramatic prints have always been his keynote, whether he preferred the strong reds, oranges and blues, or the simple contrast of black against white. His hemline length varied, while the full-length dresses looked eminently wearable. Only a couple of years out of fashion school, the Scottish designer had already created a significant business, with stockists taking his designs from Harrods in London to Neiman Marcus in the US. By 2007, for the spring-summer season, he was offering military-inspired clothing, which kept him on the path to success. Designs included short-sleeved shift dresses, panelled with contrasting printed binding, layered with breastplates. For day wear, cotton, silk and organza separates were bound with white georgette to frame the body in a palette of white, cornflower, blue and orange. A year later, he was parading body-hugging clothes with his trademark bold colour panels. His main palette was white with offshoots of black, beige, various shades of blue and a hint of yellow. Like many up-and-coming young trendy designers, Saunders is now mixing with the rich and famous and designing outfits that are now seen across the world on the bright young music, television and film stars. Fashion icon and actress Sienna Miller showed off her look and desire to stand out in Saunders' futuristic-looking dress with bold, bright colours. And actress Tandy Newton has also been seen wearing his designs and supporting the designer backstage. Saunders is now a designer that's in demand for his own collections, as well as for his collaborations with other British designers. And at such a young age, he already has an impressive reputation, with print being his guiding light since his student days. Using a combination of fine tailoring with vivid design, the understated Jonathan Saunders is one of the bright lights of the fashion industry.